Hey guys, it's Gail with Everything Nash here with Colin Stough, who was just on American Idol, and we're so happy to be talking to him. And we have a lot to talk about. Just first of all, good to see you, Colin. Thanks for talking to us.
Hey, thanks for having me here, man. I'm blessed.
So, I talk about your journey because you were working HVAC, which you were a teenager. That's a great career to have right out of high school. That's awesome. And then your mom signed you up for American Idol. Talk about that.
So I recently, in the past, for probably like 7 years, I had done metal fabrication. So like welding and powder coating and stuff like that. And so I got out of high school and I was like, man, I really need to look for something new because like everybody's gonna need heating and cooling. And so I went and started doing it, and probably about 8 months into it, I was like, I'm, just not really having fun. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been kind of a hard worker and stuff like that, but trying to balance what we had going on at home, and as far as like horses and stuff like that, and doing that too. I was like, man, I was like, I gotta figure something else out. So I was fixing to quit and just go full time horse. And my mom told me, she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sign you up for American Idol." And I was like, "No, you're not." I was like, "Don't do that." I just really didn't think I was good enough, to be out there doing that with all them. And she called me up. I was leaving work. She was like, "Hey, you need to go by so and so's house and sit down and do these interviews with these folks." She was like, "Take your guitar." And I was like, "Mama," I was like, I don't think that uh kind of did the right thing. The whole time, I tell everybody this, but it's honestly God truth. I thought she was getting scammed the whole time. So I went, and man, I'm talking to all these people. I mean, I had like, man, this shit lasted for like 3 hours, me sitting there talking to these people. And they'd send me somewhere else, and I'd wait. And I'd sit there and I'd wait. And so finally, well, they told me that I was like, well, congratulations, you're gonna get to go perform for the judges on American Idol. And I was like, all right, yeah, still acted excited because I still thought it was a scam. And well, I left and I got back home, and mama done found out about it, and I told her, I was like, I think it's a scam. I think it's a scam. Because I mean, you know how this world is. I get probably 4 or 5 scam calls a day. And well, anyway, so we sitting there, and about 2 days later, our information for our hotel come in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I was like, I mean, I've been to Louisiana before. And I was like, I don't know about this. I'll be honest with you. And so I told Mama, I said, well, you going to go with me. I said, because if they going to get me, they going to have to get you too. And so we went, and still, I didn't think it was real the whole time. There was about 200 of us there. And then I knew everybody was acting serious about it, but I just didn't know what, they were acting serious about. And well, so I'm still there the whole time, putting on a face. And man, I walk in there and showed up, it's them sitting in there, the judges. And I'm like, right then, that's like a holy shit moment. It just went from, all right, I'm fine, I ain't, and then sure enough, I don't really know big words, but my scale from 1 to 10 on shit in my pants was at 10 at that moment. And so we go in there, and I play. I don't know how I made it through. I don't remember nothing actually auditioning because I was just a nervous wreck. Because I mean, you think for 2 weeks you go on thinking this is fake, and then you get to the last moment and it ain't. Uh, but we made it through, and they told me I was going to the Hollywood, and it just kind of went from there.
I've talked to a lot of American Idol contestants. I think that might be my favorite story. That's crazy. So, was there a
Thank
point?
you,
I watched your audition. I just watched it a couple weeks ago, and it was so good.
thank you so much.
Was there a point in the show then when you were like, "Huh, I might actually make it"?
Yeah, so that whole entire time, uh, I was sitting there, and to kind of give like a little background story, and I don't know how much time we got, but I'm a big talker and I love to talk. So I come back home. We had done pre-filming in Hollywood, and I was so nervous to go back because I was like, man, I just think I'm pushing my luck right here. Well, we were at home in Amory, and we were hanging out at the bar, and a tornado came through right after one of my really close people in my life passed away. And so the night after that, I totaled my truck. And then the next time, which this woman, she loved watching me on the show. She was one of my biggest fans. She was like, the last place she was before she passed was one of my hometown shows in Amory. So the next episode that comes on is me singing her favorite song. So I'm like, man, there's something to that. There's something to that. In which I'm a big Christian. I'm a big, God's my best friend. And so, anyways, to narrate your story up, I went through living one day at a time, and I didn't plan anything. I didn't, you know, they were stressing to when we got off, rest and make sure you get plenty of sleep to renew your vocals and do this and do that. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't do none of that. I just sat there and everybody not to do it, but I just sat there and I was like, look, no matter what I do, if God wants me to go through and do this, He's going to put me through it. And we got up there at that top three, and I heard a lot of people say this, but a lot of contestants can feel when they're going home. And I got up there, and I just felt like I was going home, in which it was fine for me because I'd been in California way longer than my stay. I'm not a Cali guy, you know what I mean? And so we got up there and we did that, and I knew, I could feel it, and I was like, and which I prayed before I went on, and I was like, Lord, if this is it, thank you for the run, I appreciate it. And so we went up, and then we played with Luke, and I come off, everybody's hugging you and stuff like that, and I was fine, like everybody else, which I hate to say this because I don't know how everybody was kind of upset and crying and stuff. When I got kicked off, I was too happy in the June bugs in the field. I was ecstatic. I was like, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Y'all do y'all's thing. Y'all carry on. These bow ties ain't for me. You know what I mean? And but so we got off, and right when I got off, went straight back. And that's the first time I met Jelly Roll, and that's the first time I met Laney Wilson. And so that was a really cool moment, And man, talk about Laney, dude. She's amazing. Jelly Roll is too. Both of them are like, man, if you move to the town, you never need anything. Here's my number. Feel free to shout, And that was amazing. And then from there, I went back home for 2 weeks, and then moved to Nashville.
And hit the ground running with I Still Talk to Jesus. Okay, I love that song, by the way. And I love talking to Jesus. So look at that. But the immediate fan reaction to that was so strong and so instant. And I mean, on my side, it exploded. Talk about that song. Give me the story behind that.
So we were in California, and we had, which I don't know if you know what it is today, but in Nashville, where it's called a pitch meeting, where they pitch you songs and stuff like that. And I just honestly hadn't had time while I was out there to sit down and actually write anything that was quality. Or, it wasn't made for the show or, anything like that, So they're trying to find me a song. Well, my manager now kept pitching me, which I love her to death, but kept pitching me these pop country songs. And I told her, I was like, look, I'm not a pop country singer. I'm barely a country singer. I'm Southern rock, praise Dale and eat cornbread. You know what I mean? That's how I am, and so she calls me at like 7 o'clock in the morning, which I was always the type where it had been embedded in me for so long that I would wake up at 4 a.m., drink a cup of coffee, sit on the edge of the bed and look out the window until it was time to go. And I'm liable to sit there till 7 a.m. or I'm liable to sit there till 7 p.m. You can't never tell. So she calls me at 7 a.m. And the first thing she said, oh, wow, you're awake. And I said, yeah, I wake up pretty early every morning. And she said, well, I've got this song. And I really want you to take a look at it. And I said, okay. She said, can I come to y'all's hotel? Me and you meet in the lobby and let me show it to you. I said, yeah, come on. So she showed up, and we're sitting there, and she's like, all right, I want to play it for you. And before you say anything, just listen to the lyrics. Well, right off the bat, it's a pop song. And I took the headphone out, or I can't remember what it is, but I told her, I was like, man, in my head, I'm thinking like, man, we're just going straight to pop, we're not even doing country now, what's going on here? And so anyway, she told me just keep listening to it, keep listening to it. So I kept listening to it. And by the second verse, I was crying my eyes out. And I said, damn. I said, that's a good song right there. And I told her, I was like, well, I just don't know if I can cut that. I don't know if I can share, because Hank and Francisca, good job on their songwriting abilities on that song. Because as a songwriter, I feel like you need to write songs that relate to everybody. And that one right there punched me right in my stomach. Okay. And so I told her, I was like, I don't know if I can cut it. I don't know if I can cut it. We went back and forth. I said, I'll cut it. Because I was just so scared to share that piece I was so scared to share my soft side with everybody, with the whole America. You know what I mean? So we're in the studio and we're cutting the song. And when I walked in here, I told them, I was like, look, I really don't have a voice. I was like, I just can't help it. I don't have a voice. And well, they're like, oh, drink water, drink water. So the whole time while we was recording that song, I didn't drink no water. I drank a Coke. And we made it through. And man, I remember there's one big note in the last like pre-chorus chorus. And it says, see, yeah, see a note. And man, I just hit the ground. I hit my knees. And man, I felt like I was kind of saved that night. And then we go on to shoot the music video later. So it's 2:30 at this point in the morning in Los Angeles, California. And they're like, open to a random page in your Bible and close it. And I was like, okay. So I opened it up, and guess what? There was a piece of glass stuck in my Bible from my truck wreck. And the two verses it was sitting beside was it was, oh crap, I forgot them, but it was like it says something about horses, and it says something about idols, and they cherish the work that their own hands has made. And I was like, well, here I am, used to work with horses, and now I'm on American Idol, and I play the guitar. So I mean, that's cherishing the work that your own hands made. So we went about that, and man, that song is just very, very, very close to me and very special to me.
It's a good
So
one. I love that story. You released your debut EP, Promised Land, and I always wonder what artists like, what you think, because your first EP, that's a big deal. That's like, here's
yeah,
my introduction to the rest of the world. So what did it feel like for you to release that?
so when we released it, so I mean, I'll be 110% honest with you. I don't classify myself in one genre just because I'm liable to sit down and play a little John Mayer, and then I'm liable to sit down and play some Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix or something like that. So I really wanted to put some stuff out there that was like, this isn't this isn't just how I sing or how I play. This is just what I feel. You know what I mean? I'm a very feeling kind of musician. If I feel it, I'm gonna play it. So therefore, like Promised Land, that's my roots. You're talking about my roots. So I went back to my roots and we did a whole Southern rock thing with it. You know, if not for me, it's just talking about, really just being mad at one girl, not mad, but you have like an anger inside of you, then if it ain't me, then who is, so we kind of amped it up with that a little bit. And then, of course, I Still Talk to Jesus was on there, and then Sleep Tonight, that's a song. I think that song has a genre. I just think it's a song about mourning people, about discovering death and discovering, your own fears that you face in your life. You know what I mean? So very, kind of all over the place, but I like it that way. I don't want to be tied down to just one genre. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just what I love. And I feel like there's a lot of musicians out there that do that, such as like Chris Stapleton. You can take some of his stuff as country. You can take some of his stuff as Southern rock, the blues, all of it. And I just love that. I love that.
And you have another single out right now, Till the Day One Does. Is that your single right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
give me the story behind that one. That's a good song.
So we actually were sitting there, and man, I want to say we were sitting in Austin Sean's studio, and I want to say like we got off talking like about like love and just about being like wild as hell and just pretty much how I grew up, and uh Jeff, kind of hollered out. He's like, well, I'll be hard to love, till the day one does. And I'm like, that's catchy. That's good right there. I like it. And so we kind of formed the song around that. And next thing you know, we had a song and we was back there cutting it. And I had to come and do like 2 or 3 vocal passes on it just to get it right. But it's a killer song. I enjoy it.
It's a good one. So what's happening with you in 2024? I mean, 2023 was a pretty big year for you, I would say. What's
Yes,
happening for
ma'am.
you? What are your plans for moving forward this year?
My plans, man, I wanna grow. I wanna be not only like a better person, but I wanna be a better musician. Now that I've figured out kind of this music life and how like, being like I guess a personal influencer kind of works. I want to connect more with my fans. I really want to give them a whole lot more opportunities. So that means we're gonna play a whole lot more shows. And we've already got on a Chase Matthew tour this year, so that's great because love him to death. He's my homie. I lived with him for 5 months when I moved to Nashville, so we got on that with him, and we've got some stuff in the works that I'm honestly not sure about, and we got another EP coming, got some singles coming, and it's crazy because I get a lot of people ask me, what's coming up and stuff like that, and I'm the kind of guy where like I give you my best answer. But in reality, though, like I just live one day at a time, and that's how I love to live because if I'm sitting here today and I'm worried about what's going to happen Thursday, then I don't get my full potential out of the day, and I might go be with the Lord Wednesday, you know. So that's just kind of how I do it. I keep my phone notifications on, and somebody texts me something, I'll answer and I'll remember it. But I don't really get real deep in the conversations, like what are we trying to do? What's happening? I just kind of call my manager once a week or twice a week and say, hey man, we good? What do I need to keep doing? What do I need to stop doing? And we'll talk about it and he'll tell me. And that's just kind of how we roll.
All
But
right. Well, it's good to talk to you. I hope we get to do this in person sometime, and best of luck this year. Also, you're
I
fantastic.
do too. I see all y'all social stuff, like when y'all share my stuff and everything. I'm like, that's awesome. And then they told me I had a meeting, and I was like, oh gosh, that's amazing right there.
You have some really supportive fans. I'll say that. Your fans are amazing.
Dude, they're incredible, man. They made me a sign back there, in which heck I'll get it and show it to you. But it's got like all of my stuff on it. Like I mean, from like day one stuff, like the EP dropping, Lonely Hour, Dancing on My Own, man, shows, everything. My spot of everything on there, and it's amazing. I'll probably honestly get a package about once or twice a week from one of my fans, and man, it lights my soul up.
Well, it speaks to the kind of person that you are. So,
Hey, I try to be the best I can be. I'm not really a great morning person, and so that's why we don't do morning shows. But
well, this worked perfect. Great to see you, my friend. Hope I get to see you soon.
heck yeah, thank you so much. I hope have a blessed day.
Thanks, you too, Colin. Bye, sweetie.